Today we're talking about why the INFJ is willing to do things that others won't. Because the INFJ is probably the rarest personality type. I know there are, new statistics that suggest INFJ isn't the most rare, but potato, it really doesn't matter. Fact is, INFJs are very rare, we think in a very specific way, and we, by nature, think differently than most people. This is not something we have to convince others of, we just know that about ourselves. But what does that mean as a result? Do we use that as an excuse for our life not going our way? Most INFJs don't. With time, we learn that we have to go the road less traveled and that this road will lead us to success. This is something that INFJs pick up rather quickly because, you've tried the way how everybody else does it. You've gone the default road and it hasn't led you anywhere. It hasn't led me anywhere and it hasn't led most INFJs to where they would want to be. We all know we can get to certain aspects of our life, be okay, live an okay life, but we know that we have potential for more. And that is when the road less traveled becomes so beneficial to us. Today, we're going to talk about how to tap into this, how to actually excel in that, how to love the aspect that we're not going with the flow, that we're going our own road. And that's when we get to live this extraordinary life, this INFJ epic life, how I love to call it. Before we go into it, remember boot camp has launched. So this live round is starting this Saturday. You can join now and I recommend that you actually join a couple of days earlier so you have time to go through the material. So when we have our first live call, you can take action right away. And remember, we don't have late admissions. So join until April 2nd. All the information you have in the link in the description. So what do I mean when I say the default road? The way everybody else does it. So there's a way how we see in society success is being portrayed. And I'm not even talking about financial success or, social media success or fame or anything like this. I'm talking about success in life. Being fulfilled in life, being happy, knowing that you're tapping into your potential. We actually see people who seem to have it all. They seem to be on their path. It's not like they don't have any problems, but at least they know where they're going. INFJs very often feel like if I would go down that road, so I would take this corporate job. I would, get interested in these, let's say, superficial things. I've actually tried this and it doesn't bring me anything. It doesn't make me feel alive. It doesn't make me feel like there's any sense of it. I'm just doing it because it seems like that's the right way to go. And then you ask yourself, is it really that people are just pretending? And if you look behind the curtain, it's not even that exciting. That could be one way. But you know what? I have actually found that most people don't even operate that way. Maybe they have some kind of problems. Of course, all of us do. But they are not questioning themselves as often as INFJs do, let's say on a regular basis. There are people who have depression. This is a common thing. We all know that. But when you look at it from a personality aspect, INFJs are much more likely to question what is going on and why they're not happy than, let's say, an ISTJ. And that is not only because the INFJ is so contemplative, it is also because the default state that has been shown to us makes so much more sense to other types. The ISTJ maybe wasn't even a good example because the ISTJ does whatever they think is right. For them, it doesn't really matter if society says this is the one thing or this is what you should do. They have their clear understanding of this is what makes sense to me. But a lot of types who actually buy into what society tells them, and I'm not judging this at all because we as INFJs are actually a type who does that as well because it's just a way of perceiving things. We are aware of emotional atmospheres, FE. We are aware of what is being considered good or bad and all of those things. So I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying if we look into it, we don't understand it. We see that other people are thriving in this environment, doesn't really work for us. I've come to the conclusion that most people actually thrive in this environment, even if they're not tapping completely into their potential. The thing that society is telling them to do is actually quite close to what makes them fulfilled. And, that's normal, because if you say, let's say most people in the world are sensors, then of course the overall majority of people will be doing sensory things that make sensors happy, right? This is, of course, on a very high level. It doesn't mean that people aren't specific and unique, but you get the picture. So what does that mean for us? So we already know, okay, yes, maybe some people are pretending, but in most cases, they actually are on the right path. What are we going to do about it? Well, we recognize this is not the way to go, not the way other people have done it, not the way other personality types have done it in the past, not how most people in our environment have done it. Because let's be honest, I don't even think I know one INFJ in real life, like right here. I mean, I've met people through, getting to know them through the channel, but it's not like on a daily basis you are surrounded by INFJs. Most people are not. So this is what we see all around us. But if you come to the conclusion that this is not the way to go for you and that you have to go the road less traveled, incredible opportunities open up to you, because you then stop questioning it. You stop questioning, what is wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? Why am I not happy with doing what everybody else is doing? You're just not. And the reason for that is that you just don't have enough examples in front of you that show you that your way can also be a default state. That's why I'm so grateful for the internet, why I'm so grateful for our community, for YouTube, for social media altogether, because it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other no matter where we are in the world. And we actually get to see that, there are people who think like I do. There are people who actually have the same desires I have, and they go after them. And there's a blueprint for it. It really is so often so difficult to go a path that nobody has done before, because we just can't really make it real. There is a thought in our mind, there is this vague feeling of, there should be something, but it's a completely different thing if you see it practically played out. For me, that meant, leaving my job, starting my own business, deciding that a lot of my connections and a lot of my needs I'm going to get through, talking to you guys, having, different conversations online, understanding that there's certain needs of connection, certain needs of contemplation, of thinking in a metaphysical way that I just need to get met in a different way. And once I understood this, everything changed. Because believe it or not, these outlets, they do exist. It's not just me. It's not like, okay, Wenzes is the only thing I can watch that makes me connected to that. Because INFJs have a lot in common, yes, of course. That's why we INFJs, there's a similar way of thinking, but every single person has their own unique traits. So yeah, to some extent we have a lot in common, and then things actually become very individualistic. And you actually get to make up how you, make a basket out of what you need in life. There are so many online mentors that go into the metaphysical realm. People who love to go into, their personal preferences, as in, I want to know more about being a vegan. I want to be more connected to the environment. I'm very connected with the spiritual world. The list goes on. And then within those fields, then there are, so many more people. So you actually get to create this road less traveled that is as close to what you need as possible. It's not like you can ever find it. I don't believe that you can just, have this perfect thing, because I don't think it exists. You can always grow. You can always expand it. You, of course, are so unique that there isn't going to be, this puzzle of outlets and online mentors and connections that you can create that can just fill you up altogether. That by, default isn't possible, just as you can say, okay, the universe is always expanding, And I'm not going to go into that, is the universe really expanding or not? I'm not an expert in these things, but you get my point. Like, we're always growing. So if we get to this place where we know I need to go a different direction, and if I go that different direction and I decide for myself what is acceptable, what I will do, what seems maybe odd to the people around me, but will be my solution, then you actually start taking it. And I see INFJs doing this more and more because we have representation, because we see people around us, because it's not just about the 10 people you see on a daily basis in real life. Our real life is so connected to, seeing things on the internet, talking to people online, having all of these connections. I mean, we as INFJs by default need a lot of space for our own, right? Space, time, all of that. And so we don't need to fill it up how other people need to fill it up. We still need social connections, but you yourself decide how much you need of that and how much is really going to be necessary for you to live your best life. So if you are at a place where you still feel like, something is not clicking, something is missing, go against what you think everybody should be doing. Decide for yourself, what is it that's going to make you happy? How do you want to feel? I always love to work with, role models or spiritual archetypes and things like that, which help you to recognize a part of you that you aren't living out yet. And you actually get to live that out. For me, it really was stepping into this superhero persona that for the longest time I kept hidden because I felt like, okay, if I start being my own hero, if I start saving myself, then the people around me who are living this default life, who live, just to survive day by day, they don't feel this excitement about life, they're not going to connect with me. And in a lot of ways, they didn't. It's not like I'm going to tell you, okay, you just become your best self, you turn into the person you want to be, and then everybody around you is going to love what you've become. Not at all. It's actually the complete opposite. You fill yourself up so much that you're not even looking for that kind of, acceptance. You get connection, but from other people. And the people who are in your life, you get connection on a completely different level. It really happens from a different space. We are so used to hollowing ourselves out in order to fit in other people's lives that, of course, you're never going to fill that, that void that you've created in order to create that connection. But if you start filling it up by doing things that might seem, extreme in a lot of cases. Like now, if I look at my life, I don't think there's anything extreme about it. Yeah, I call it my INFJ epic life because I wake up every day and I'm happy. And I didn't used to feel this way. And I thought living this way is just, out of the norm. It's not something I could ever achieve. And now it just becomes so normal that, as I said, it doesn't feel like it's something so extraordinary. But getting here, the thoughts that I had when it came to, choosing this kind of life, they seemed so extreme. I thought at that moment people were judging me, but once I would show them my true nature, which is 10 times more extravagant, 10 times more, I'm doing my own thing and I don't care what everybody else thinks, people would completely think I'm bonkers. And, the truth is people really didn't care much. There was some distancing, but that's it. The biggest judgments we have are towards ourselves, and we just project them onto other people. And therefore, you automatically are surrounding yourself with people who have the same judgments about you that you have about yourself. But if you allow yourself to do things that others won't, doing those things that you can do because of the way you think, because of your personality type, taking some risks to do something that is not completely socially acceptable in, let's say, the realm that you're currently in. It's going to be completely socially acceptable in the new, paradigm that you're going to live. But in order to do that, you have to go that step. And we as INFJs have the capacity to go against the masses. Because the way our mind is wired, it might feel uncomfortable to go against the masses, but it's not something that's impossible. For other types, sometimes it really feels impossible because the fear of abandonment, the fear of, being excluded is just too high psychologically. For us, it's doable. So go take that road less traveled. See where it leads you. Do the things that you know in your mind you could do just to prove to yourself that you can. And that will open up the next layer of your evolution. What do you have to lose? Think about it. You have this one life, use it. There's no need to play it safe. Nobody's here judging you but yourself. So take advantage of that. And go look at people who are already living the life you want to live. Like take an aspect here, take an aspect there. It's like you pick up your own wardrobe out of like these different pieces. It's like, nowadays, if you look at what you're watching on YouTube, for example, this is very specifically tailored to you. My first page looks completely different than your page and so on. Maybe there are some videos that we have in common, but the way our life is set up now and the way it really is developing really gives us an opportunity to be as individualistic as we want to and thrive in that environment. Remember, if you're serious about this and you're ready to take on the next step, why not join the bootcamp? We're an amazing community. We help each other. There's so much insight that happens within the live calls. It's lifetime access. Now is the time to join. You have time until April 2nd. So make sure you're on that live round. It's going to be amazing like always. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there who signs up. All the information you find in the link below. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, and watch the video why the INFJ's intelligence gets so often underestimated.